Let's communicate since they didn't. Exile by Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver is a song that captures the tragic outcomes within a relationship that are caused by miscommunication. But before we get started, hello and welcome back to Lyric Dani. I'm your host Dani, and today we'll be analyzing and breaking down Exile by Taylor Swift featuring Bon Iver. So let's get started. First things first, Exile is the fourth track from the Folklore album by Taylor Swift, which was released in 2020. It's a song that captures two point of views entirely, which I do think it's quite interesting, and it's something we've seen in previous Taylor songs like The Last Time from her Red album, as well as The Alcott, which is a song by The National featuring Taylor Swift, which I do think it's quite interesting when we do get like those like two point of views in one song. I do think it's quite interesting and very outstanding how it's structured and everything. And for example, in Exile, we get to see this relationship already broken up, and it's like a re-encounter of these two ex-lovers, and we can see how throughout the song there's some miscommunication going on, and we can also see part of like the past of like when things ended, like, you know, we can see the chaos of it, we can see everything, a little bit of everything throughout the song, which I do think is quite outstanding. It's not quite common to see, well, in this case, listen within songs, but I do think Exile captures this two point of views, these two perspectives just perfectly, and it might be so gut-wrenching, but it's one of the most outstanding songs in my opinion, and I do think it's one of the most heartbreaking songs as well, but it's just so beautiful and sad. It's beautiful and tragic both at the same time. So I won't make this any longer and actually get started within the song. So a little side note before we do get started, I will try my best to explain both point of views in a way that like you're the one seeing this in a way, like you're Bon Iver and you're Taylor Swift at the same time. It is a bit confusing, it is a bit complicated, but I will try my best. Towards the bridge, I think that's gonna change, but it's okay. I will try my best. So just bear with me and keep up with me, because it is very interesting and very outstanding to explain and elaborate. So let's get started. At the beginning of Exile, we can see the male point of view of the relationship, which in this case we will be listening to Bon Iver creating the scene of this post breakup scenario, which starts off with, I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing, but the joke's not funny at all. So it seems that your ex is already with someone new. They've moved on from your relationship quite easily, quite fast, and you're just like seeing them from a distance. And it took you 5 whole minutes to pack us up and leave me with it, holding all this love out here in the hall. So it seems that you're like wondering, how did things end so fast? Like, what happened? Why did you leave me so fast? You're just like going through your mind, like just like spiraling in a way, just wondering why things ended the way they did, and like how did things ended so fast that your ex is with someone new already. Heading towards the chorus, it goes, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so why am I defending now? You're my town, now I'm in exile seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before. Wow. It seems that you're familiar with this breakup situation. Like, you've seen this before. You've seen this pattern eventually, and you didn't like the ending. You didn't like how things ended back then. Them not being their homeland anymore. It's like, why am I defending this? Like, why are you still defending this relationship? Like, you're mulling over what is worth fighting for if she's no longer part of your life, if she already moved on, if she already left. How her being your town and having to be in exile, seeing her leave, it's like she used to be your everything, and due to complications the breakup occurred, and it's like you're forced to watch her go, and you just don't want to, but you don't want to beg her to stay if that was her decision in a way. And it's like previously said, like, I've seen this before, like, you know, I've seen this film before, I've seen how this has gone before. So now heading towards the second perspective, which in this case would be the girl's perspective from the song, it goes, I can see you staring, honey, like he's just your understudy, like you'd get your knuckles bloody for me. It seems that you're seeing your ex within your new relationship. You're seeing his replacement in a way. It seems that if your ex was a different person, they would be fighting for you right now. They would be fighting your current boyfriend to win you back. But now you're just like staring at each other from a distance, and deep down within you, you just like want to see him fighting for you the way you thought they would. But apparently, I mean, you're with someone else now, and he's just staring at you and him from a distance. Second, third, and 100th chances, balancing on breaking branches, those eyes add insult to injury. But instead of fighting, he just remains with saddened eyes. And you gave him every opportunity, every given chance to win you back, but it seems that he was better off staying from a distance, staying apart, staying in a comfort zone. Balancing on breaking branches, it seems that you guys were already walking this very thin line, which it's a line that we see later on, but it's how both of you were like already about to fall, but like just trying your best to stay standing still. But you guys knew these branches were going to break eventually, and the line was going to break eventually because it was very thin and they were all breaking apart. Those eyes adding insult to injury. It's that disgrace you feel now, like how could you do this to me, in a way? How his saddened eyes just seem to insult you. It seems to hurt you even more because like it's hurting the wound that's already open. They don't take action for what happened. How they just like stare at you with those saddened eyes, and you're just like, those eyes just like, it's like an insult, the fact that you look at me that way, because this was sort of your fault in a way. Heading towards the chorus within the same perspective, it's very similar to the previous point of view, but now there's a couple slight changes, which goes, I think I've seen this film before and I didn't like the ending. I'm not your problem anymore, so who am I offending now? You were my crown, now I'm in exile seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before. So we get to see that repetition of the line, I think I've seen this film before. It's the same, but it's not at the same time, because this time it's her perspective, not his. But in this case, you're no longer his homeland. How you don't have to feel bad about moving on, because why should you feel compelled to fight for your relationship if you guys are no longer together? And like, who are you offending now? Like, why am I offending you now, in a way? He used to be your everything before, but things escalated the way they did, in a negative way, and you were forced to remove yourself from the situation. Heading towards the bridge of the song is where all the chaos went down, where the breakup actually occurred. Which, for the sake of this video, I will be explaining Taylor's point of view as your point of view, and Bon Iver's point of view as your ex point of views. How about that? I think it makes more sense in a way, because we do get both point of views at the same time, but in a way I think it's easier to explain that way rather than in a third point of view. It's not really that cool in a way, so I'll try my best, so just bear with me. So it starts up with, so I'm leaving out the side door, which is where you decide to leave this relationship. So step right out, there's no amount of crying I can do for you, which he's agreeing with your decision of leaving and doesn't even fight back for you to stay. He just agrees with you, just like, step right out, there's nothing I can do to make you stay, in a way. All this time, we walked a very thin line. And actually, this line is like the perspective of the two of you at the same time. How you guys knew that things were going south but were in denial. It does connect with the balancing on branches line, which I did mention before. They're both metaphors, which I do think it's quite interesting how you guys were just balancing things out. Like, we're trying to stay as steady as possible, but things were falling apart right in front of your eyes, but none of you were taking action because you guys wanted to see how bad things could get, in a way. You didn't even hear me out. You didn't even hear me out. So the thing about this line, which is quite interesting, it's how he's saying, like, you didn't even hear me out, just complaining and protesting that you never heard him. But the thing is, your you didn't hear me out line It's faded away in the background. It's so out of reach how it's portrayed, at least in the song. He's claiming that you didn't hear him out, but he didn't even bother listening to you within the first place. It's like if you were getting always talked over, in a way. You never gave a warning sign, I gave so many signs. Of the many signs you gave him, he ignored every single one of them. And then claims, you never told me, you never showed me, you never said anything. But he was always talking over you. He didn't even bother to listen. All this time, I never learned to read your mind. Never learned to read my mind. This time, all this time is just his perspective, not yours. Like he's overstepping you once again. I never learned to read your mind, never learned to read my mind. It seems that there was this constant argument and arguing. Both of you never agreed on the same things in any given scenario. And he just never learned, in a way, to read your mind, but never once thought from your perspective, never once even bothered to pay attention to it or even listen. I couldn't turn things around, you never turned things around. He tried to change things for the sake of your relationship, but you're claiming that he just never tried, in a way. You're telling him the truth, the ugly truth he doesn't want to admit. Because you never gave a warning sign, I gave so many signs. So many signs, so many signs, you didn't even see the signs. This line is quite interesting because it first starts off with him saying because you never gave me a warning sign. And you're stating, I gave so many signs, and both of you singing along to so many signs, but it ends with you saying you didn't even see the signs. How the many signs that you gave him, he didn't even mind seeing them or paying attention to them. And then he's just wondering why things ended when you're literally screaming in silence, stating once again, you didn't even bother to see them, and now wonder why things ended. So the ending of the song is the chorus and the bridge once again. But the thing about the chorus is that this time it's both of you singing it. In a way, you can listen how there's this sort of desperation going within your voice and his voice, in a way. But it's you guys are there reconnecting, in a way, but still arguing, in a way. So after the chorus, the ending of that chorus, I think I've seen this film before, so I'm leaving out the side door. A repetition of your point of view within the song. How you're now officially leaving because you've seen this before. You've seen this happen before. You've been through it before. And I do think it's quite interesting how in the chorus is both of you singing, and now towards the end of that chorus is so I'm leaving out the side door. And it's back again in the bridge, so step right out. There's no amount of crying I can do for you. And then again, the all this time we've always walked a very thin line, being sang by both of you. And how all this time we always walked a very thin line. It's very interesting how, okay, yeah, it's sang by both of you. But the thing about this particular one, at least, you can hear how Terry's voice is sort of fading away, and it's just so delicate, in a way. And it's foreshadowing that vulnerability within this relationship, within her feelings, what you're going through, how you just I just wanted now entirely leave, in a way. I thought seeing you again would change things, but now it's just this is all that went down, in a way. Everything just added up again, everything made sense again for you, at least, why you even left in the first place. Which I do think it's very interesting how even the voice of the songs are portrayed, it just tells you a whole perfect story, in a way. Continuing with the bridge, it continues in the first bridge, how all this time I never learned to read your mind, it's just his perspective, and you are going back, never learned to read my mind, I couldn't turn things around, you never turned things around, because you never gave me a warning sign, I gave so many signs. So towards the last bridge of the song, it's a mixture of the different lyrics we've seen throughout, how he goes all this time and you're screaming in silence, so many signs. I never learned to read your mind, so many signs. You're screaming in silence, but he just seems to overstep, as he always does. And it doesn't matter what you say, because he's not paying attention to you anymore, in a way. And the song does conclude with, I couldn't turn things around, because you never gave me a warning sign, never gave a warning sign. But here's the catch. He finishes the song in a way. It used to be like his point of view and your point of view. The ending of the song is just his point of view, which it seems that you just remove yourself from the narrative before he had more time to protest of this breakup, of this rupture, of why you didn't give him more signs, why didn't you tell him why things ended. In a way, you just decided to remove yourself from the narrative and eventually move on with your life because you knew that you were just wasting your breath trying to talk over him because he was not letting you. He was not letting you even speak in the first place. So you just decided to leave for your own good and your own sake. Which is why I found this quite interesting, like towards the ending. Like you can see the relationship breaking apart, breaking down. Because like it already begins within the song, the relationship already over and broken up, and you can see the miscommunication in the arguments that you guys had before calling things off. Getting to see both point of views is quite outstanding, as I did mention at the beginning. And as I mentioned, the ending of the song is just him finishing off because you decided to remove yourself from the narrative because it wasn't yours to keep anymore, it wasn't yours to justify anymore, because he was just not letting you, and you just thought it was going to be better, and you know it was just going to be better off moving along as you were doing just before. And that's why I think that Exile is one of those songs that, although it might be heartbreaking and super sad, it's one to just admire and just like appreciate how beautifully structured and beautifully made it is. So yeah, let me know your thoughts of it. And well, that is a wrap. Thank you so much if you stayed all the way through. Please let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed this video. Like, share, subscribe, whatever you want. Be my guest. I will also be linking down below the yes or analysis of this song, which is already out at my blog. And I'll see you on the next one.